Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everybody. Today, we're really going deep, exploring the world of Annie Ernaux.
Oh, absolutely. And for those who might not know, she's the brilliant mind behind some truly powerful writing, and she won the Nobel Prize back in 2022 for it.
And the prize in literature, too. So, we're in for some seriously good stuff.
That's right. We're diving deep into her Nobel lecture, looking at some key moments from her life, and really getting a feel for her writing style.
Exactly. It's going to be fascinating to uncover the way she uses this flat writing. Have you heard about this?
Absolutely. It's incredible, really. She explores these really complex themes, social class, memory, all these unspoken things we kind of tiptoe around, and she just lays it all bare.
To thrive, right.
Incredibly so. But to fully grasp it, you kind of have to step back in time with her. Think 1940s France.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
Good, because we're going to Normandy, where she grew up. And it wasn't all baguettes and berets back then. You see, France was really divided, especially when it came to social class.
You can almost feel that tension, even now, thinking about it.
You definitely can. And it had a huge impact on Ernaux. It's woven into everything she wrote.
You can really sense that awareness, that injustice, simmering below the surface in her words. In fact, there's this one line from her diary, written when she was just 22. "I will write to avenge my people." Just let that sink in for a moment.
Powerful stuff. It gives me chills every time I read it.
Right. And it's not just a passing thought either. She even compared herself to Rimbaud, the poet who said, "I am of an inferior race for all eternity."
Wow. That's quite a statement.
Exactly. It's like she truly saw writing as her way to fight back against this system that held people like her family down.
It speaks volumes about the deep-seated class issues in France at the time, but Ernaux later admitted that this whole avenging my people thing, while a powerful motivator, was maybe a bit simplistic.
Yeah, life rarely goes according to plan, does it?
You got it. And life threw some curveballs her way. Think about it. Her father's death, her time teaching students who came from similar backgrounds to hers. These weren't just events, they were turning points.
It seems like those experiences pushed her to look inward, to explore her own story.
Absolutely. And you see the shift in her writing. It becomes less about this broad critique of society and more about her own experiences. But because of where she came from, those experiences reflect what so many others were going through too.
So she's speaking not just for herself, but for a whole group of people who had been silenced.
Precisely. And here's where it gets really interesting. Because she's clearly mastered the French language. I mean, this is a Nobel Prize winner, after all.
Right, of course.
But she wrestles with how to use that very language, this language of the elite, to depict the world she came from.
I never thought of it like that.
Oh, yeah. She talks about using the dominant language to express the realities of her first world.
By first world, she means.
Her own world. The world of everyday people. Working, living, just getting by. It's about social standing, but more than that, it's about using language authentically.
That's a tough one. So how did she bridge that gap?
Well, she made a choice, a very deliberate one. She decided to break free from those stuffy, traditional rules of literary language.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Right. She thought, why not use the language of the people, the language of the streets, the language of the heart? So she embraced this language of excess, raw, unflinching, real.
Because that's where the truth lies, isn't it?
Exactly. It's about capturing those realities she wanted to show the world. And it's how she crafted what she called flat writing, not writing well in the traditional sense. Forget flowery prose and elegant metaphors. It's about getting to the heart of the matter.
So she's taking back the language, making it her own.
And giving power to a whole group of people in the process.
And that probably influences how she uses the first person too, right? That I.
Yeah.
Because it's obviously not your typical autobiography.
You hit the nail on the head. She's not just telling her life story. It's bigger than that.
So it's not like, here's my diary, start to finish.
Not at all. She once said, and this is a quote, "Not to tell the story of my life, but to decipher a lived situation and thereby reveal something that only writing can bring into being."
Wow. There's a lot to unpack there.
There really is. It's about using her own life as a doorway to explore those universal human experiences we all share.
Okay, I'm starting to get it.
It's like she's grabbing you by the hand saying, look at this feeling, this experience. Don't you see yourself in it?
It's a powerful image.
It is, and that's the brilliance of her transparent eye. She writes with such incredible honesty, such vulnerability, that you can't help but connect with what she's saying. It's raw, it's real, and it makes you realize, hey, I'm not alone in this.
You feel seen. even though she's writing about very specific people,
They say
specific places.
exactly. And it's interesting because one of her most impactful statements is, when the unspeakable is brought to light, it is political.
And there's no better example of that than her book, Happening. Talk about bringing the unspeakable to light.
It's a tough read, but such an important one.
For those who aren't familiar, it details her experience of having an illegal abortion. She was just 23 at the time.
And in a time when women, especially, weren't always encouraged to use their voices, especially about something so deeply personal.
Exactly. So for her to come forward, to share her story, it became more than just a personal experience. It made a statement.
It absolutely did.
About women's rights.
Absolutely. About bodily autonomy.
Yeah.
And about how sometimes silence can be the greatest injustice of all.
It's like she's saying, this happened, it happens, and we need to talk about it.
And that's what makes her writing so powerful. It's not just words on a page. It's a call to action. It's a demand to be heard.
And you can't help but listen.
It's impossible to ignore. And that's what makes her work so important, so necessary, even today. And that's exactly why her work resonates so deeply with readers. It's that rawness, that vulnerability.
Even though she's writing about such specific experiences, makes you wonder, how does she make it feel so universal?
It's all in the way she writes, you see. Remember, flat writing. It's more than just a style. It's a commitment to honesty.
So she's not trying to sugarcoat anything.
Exactly. She lays it all out there, no embellishments, just raw, unfiltered experience. And that creates a powerful sense of intimacy, almost like you're reading her diary.
You feel like you're right there with her, experiencing these things firsthand. It's incredible.
It really is. It's in that rawness, that directness that she really connects with the reader on a deeper level.
And let's not forget her masterful handling of time and memory.
Oh, absolutely. That's another layer of brilliance.
Like in her book, The Years, where she uses the third person to reflect on her own life.
It's such a fascinating approach.
It's almost like she's looking at herself from the outside.
Exactly. And by using that third person, she highlights how much we change over time.
It's like you're not even the same person you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, heck, even yesterday.
Exactly. And Ernaux captures that so brilliantly. She's not afraid to say, look, we're all works in progress.
It's like that feeling you get when you look at old photos of yourself and think, who is that person?
Precisely. And in The Years, she really leans into that. She'll talk about herself, but using she and her, it creates this fascinating distance,
Almost like she's reflecting on a different version of herself.
Exactly. It's like she's saying that our identities aren't fixed. We're always changing and evolving based on our experiences and memories.
It's both humbling and incredibly liberating when you think about it. We're not stuck in amber, are we?
Exactly. We have the power to grow and change. And it all circles back, wouldn't you say, to Ernaux's idea that when the unspeakable is brought to light, it becomes more than just personal. It sparks something bigger.
It challenges the way things are, the way we think.
Absolutely. Her work forces us to confront uncomfortable truths, things we might not want to talk about, class, gender, our own personal struggles.
But she's not afraid to go there.
No, she's fearless. And by shining a light on these often unspoken truths, she challenges us to examine our own beliefs and biases.
She's holding up a mirror to society and saying, take a good look, see anything you want to change.
Right. It can be uncomfortable, but that discomfort is where growth happens.
It's where we learn. And that's what I find so compelling about her work. She doesn't back down from difficult emotions. She leans in.
She leans in and she invites us to do the same.
Because ultimately, that's how we connect with each other, by being vulnerable and authentic.
Exactly. It's in those moments of shared humanity that we truly connect and grow.
And that's the power of Ernaux's writing. It's raw, honest, and ultimately deeply moving.
It stays with you. It makes you think. And that, in my opinion, is the mark of a truly great writer.
It really does. It's the kind of writing that stays with you long after you've finished the book. It makes you think.
And it's not just those big dramatic moments,
Right.
Ernaux finds a way to illuminate even the smallest details, the things we experience every day but rarely pay attention to.
The seemingly insignificant moments that actually, when you think about it, make up a whole life.
Exactly. She makes you appreciate those little things, those fleeting feelings, things you never even realized were so important. It's really quite remarkable.
It's like she's saying, pay attention. This is it. This is life unfolding right in front of you.
Yes. And what's amazing is how those little details become these profound reflections on what it means to be human.
Because she's not just observing these things from a distance, right?
No, not at all. She shares her own vulnerabilities, those unguarded moments. It's like she's giving us permission to do the same.
To let our guard down.
Yeah.
To say, you know what? I don't have it all figured out.
Yes. To be okay with the uncertainty, the messiness of it all. And in those moments, we find connection.
It's like she's reminding us that we're not alone in this.
Exactly. We all have those doubts, those fears, those moments when we feel lost. And it's by acknowledging them, by sharing them, that we find our way back to each other.
Which is so refreshing, don't you think?
Absolutely, especially these days when there's so much pressure to present this perfect image to the world.
Right. But she's not afraid to be real, to be flawed.
And that's what makes her so relatable, so human.
And in the end, isn't that what makes great literature? The ability to connect with us on that human level.
Without a doubt. Ernaux's work challenges us, it moves us, it makes us question everything we thought we knew about the world and ourselves.
She leaves you changed.
Absolutely. And so, as we wrap up this incredible deep dive into the world of Annie Ernaux,
I have to say, I'm blown away by her courage, her honesty, and the way she captures the essence of what it means to be alive.
she's a true original. There's no one like her.
And if you're listening to this and you haven't experienced her writing yet, I urge you, go out and pick up one of her books. You won't regret it.
You really won't. And as you delve into her world, keep this question in mind. How do her stories of social class, gender, and those personal battles we all face resonate with your own understanding of yourself and the world around you?
What a powerful thought to leave us with. Thank you all for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time as we explore more fascinating ideas and insights together.